Well, over a number of decades, the Craven and Lee names have been hugely successful in harness racing. I caught up with one of their favourite sons in Glen Craven to have a chat about the family history and also his career. Well, Glenn, good to catch up there. Not the start to the day you would have liked with Phoenix Red, trained by Stephen Loftus. No, Steve's very disappointed, and he was keen on its prospects.
Yeah, no, it was a bit of a disappointment, but just didn't quite get away at the start. He's got loads of ability, but unfortunately it doesn't mean much when they're not in the race.
Yeah, Steve said he was back to the drawing boards with him once again.
No, he's go back home and do a bit of homework with him and just see if can work out something that will help him get away at the start. And once he learns that, I think he'll be a good horse.
5 at a time as far as you're concerned, as far as the Lee and Craven name, just above your shoulder there, Jilliby Kung Fu taking out the Chariots of Fire 2018. What a performer.
Yeah, no, he was a very good horse. He gave us a pretty exciting year that year. Nearly picked up the Miracle Mile 2 weeks later, but he's been an awesome horse for us and still is. So he holds a very high place in our hearts.
Just nutted out by Myfield Marshall. Of course, we know Myfield Marshall's a superb performer in his own right.
Yeah, no, it was he was the 4-year-old. He was only his third or fourth start back from a spell too, so his effort in that race was unbelievable. But unfortunately we weren't quite good enough on the night, but awfully proud of what he did.
Glenn, he spent a couple of seasons a stud with Blender Luke McCarthy. Back in work once again. Was it a matter of him just being keen to race again?
His stud career probably hasn't been going quite as good as we would hoped, and Belinda and Luke were keen to send him home, and Marg and Paddy and the rest of the team were keen to give him another go. So he's just been in work, and he had one start back, wasn't quite right. So he'll have a bit of a freshen up and hopefully go again in a few weeks' time.
As I mentioned in the introduction, Glenn, the Craven name along with the Lee name have been wonderful contributors to harness racing now for a number of decades. Where did it all unfold?
It all started back with Nana Alice's family, the McDowells. They had horses originally, and Nana had the bug, and then after that, Pop Harold, he started as a starter at Terang for many years, and broke a lot of horses in, and Dad and Marg were very keen on training him, and uncles John Des and Harry were real keen on it as well. So it's just been a big family tradition basically, and us kids have been lucky enough to be able to hold up the name, and the support they've given us is unbelievable.
Well, you've certainly held up the name with distinction. A couple of the members of the family interested in horsepower of a far different type.
Considering a nephew of the great Dickie Lee, Damien and Jack, they love their trucks and tractors and speedways. So they love the other horsepower, but we've all been into the trotters and the paces. So it's everyone likes the race.
Speaking of Dick Lee, what a wonderful contributor he has been, particularly with a horse called Rufus Youngblood.
It was a bit before my time, but every story you hear from Dickie, he was a great man of the sport, and he was always a bloke that could go and pick his brain if you ever needed it. But he's a great man of the sport.
And always wanted to give something back to Glenn. I'm not sure whether it's still continuing to this day, but the Rising Star Award, sponsored by Dick, the previous winner was Taylor French, so he certainly has an eye for talent.
Dickie's done a great job, and like you say, his legacy will always live on. So he's been great for the sport.
As far as Margaret Lee is concerned, what would be her strength as a trainer, because she's had so much success? Working with her every day. It's probably her adaptability of knowing when to change something with a horse, or knowing when something's wrong. She's a great one to pick out a problem and work on that problem and fix it. And I like to think our horses go to the races very happy. So it's a credit to what she's done, and we've learned a lot off her, and it's been great. No doubt, Glenn. Come track work, it'll be all hands on deck. How many horses would you be working at any one time?
There's always a few there. We generally don't want to count them, so we just keep working until they're all done. So it's just a great big team effort.
We've got plenty of Gillibys, we've got plenty of Kiang, so how did that come about?
Yeah, well, between Dad and Margaret and the boys, they were breeding a lot. So they were getting the Gillibys, and then when a few more had come in, Marg's farm was on the Kiang station, so yeah, she was looking for some names for a couple of horses, and instead of having to come up with 10 different names, she came up with the Kiang as the prefix, and yeah, it's just stuck, and yeah, it's great to be able to have them Kiangs and Gillibys, and yeah, everybody knows where they come from, and yeah, it's very recognisable.
Does it get confusing?
Well, can be, but when you're working with them every day, you work out which one's which. But yeah, I bet for the punters it can be a bit confusing.
And if I asked you which was the best Gilliby, no doubt the fellow just above your left shoulder would come very strong into contention. But as far as the Kiang, it's a bit more difficult to sort out.
There's been a lot of them. So there's been a lot of Gillibys too. So yeah, Kung Fu is probably that one on top for them. But probably for my pick, it'd be a tight one between Kiang Cullen and Kiang Steamer. They were great horses for me coming through the ranks, and got me in a lot of nice races and Into Dominions and Chariots of Fires and them sort of races. So I'll be forever grateful for those two horses for the races they got me in.
Apart from the wonderful contribution by your family, who you can no doubt call upon at any particular stage for any particular reason, who else has been influenced as far as your career?
Yeah, like you say, I had come up with a great upbringing from Dad and Marg and the rest of the uncles at home. They're all very, very knowledgeable and know what they're talking about. But probably outside of home, definitely growing up as a junior driver, and that was Peter Manning. Yeah, he gave me a lot of opportunities when I was younger, and yeah, he was definitely probably the most influential. But like the harness racing game is that you can turn to anyone for any advice, and everybody's more than happy to help.
Of course, Peter, just so astute with the trotter.
Yeah, he's just a great horseman. Yeah, and you just always knew when you were driving his horses that they were fit, and you could drive them accordingly. And yeah, he was also a great to learn how to drive and get training tips off too. Like he was. There's a lot of people would credit Peter Manning for how they train their horses nowadays.
Not so fond memories in the first race here at Club Menangle, but you do have fond memories of this particular circuit, your first Group 1.
Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. A better punt here on Into Dominion Day, I think it was, years ago when it was looking like it was going to be washed out all day. I was here with Kian Cullen, with Marg and Jason, and we were sitting here watching all day the track getting fixed, and yeah, didn't think we were going to get a race meeting in, but in the finish it was a great race meeting, and I was lucky enough to be able to win that race. It was a track world record at the time, but yeah, thanks to the Lewis family, they had me on that day.
Some of the Victorians, when they first come here, Glenn, find the track a little bit daunting, trying to get used to it for a few drives. How did you find this big circuit?
Yeah, it's a great track to drive on. Yeah, you always get your horses to get every chance. Like you say, it is a big track, so you've got to be a bit careful that you don't get too excited too early. You can often go too quick, but yeah, that's a lovely track to drive on, and horses can really run a lot of time here. And yeah, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of success. So unfortunately, today wasn't quite that, but yeah, hopefully in the future it can continue.
You also had success driving for Matty and Better Isolate more recently, taking out the Popular Arm Free for All.
Yeah, no, Matty's he's got a strong team of horses. Him and Amy do a great job, and they're lucky enough. They when need be, they call me up. So I'm more than happy to get on and have a drive. And yeah, he's always got a nice horse, and yeah, Better Isolate's a really nice horse that it's a great sit sprinter. And yeah, I was lucky enough to be on the right night.
As far as the Lee horses and the Cravens, one thing I have noticed, Glenn, when they here at Club Menangle, beautiful in appearance.
Yeah, that's probably, like I say, like Marg's adaptability, making sure the horses are fit and healthy, and yeah, any problems are fixed. So yeah, we often pride ourselves on our horses turning out in great order, and yeah, generally if they're fit and healthy, they'll always race well.
Glenn, it's been good to catch up with you.
Thank you.